Welcome to an examination of AI biases. The course is designed to help young learners, 7th graders, gain an appreciation for unfairness and bias in society that is both intentional and sometimes unintentional, and is perpetrated by modern technology, specifically artificial intelligence. The course metaphor, Balancing the Scales of AI, is posted at the top of each page, and the scales of justice appear on each lesson page to emphasize the biblical principle that God created the world for good. However, the devil has used what was meant for good and made it evil, creating an imbalance, underscoring the need for everyone, and our learners in this particular case, to balance the scales of justice. The homepage establishes the purpose of the website. We have the title of the course, Understanding Biases in AI, with some slide presentations giving you an understanding of what the course is about. There's the course description about the course, information about the instructor, learning outcomes, and frequently asked questions. The menu bar at the top, we have our home page, and we can go to our lessons. If I click on lessons, it takes us to a lessons page where I can click on each individual lesson, or I can just click on each lesson unit and it will take me to the lesson page. The first lesson is What Do You Really Know About Artificial Intelligence? Designed to give the students an understanding and erase any misconceptions that they may have about artificial intelligence. We have our essential question, learning outcome, and learning objectives, and then below a list of lesson activities. If I click on the first one, it is an interactive video from Edpuzzle. It brings us in, and students can click on the video, and it takes them through. This video has questions for the students as they watch the video, and there's an embedded quiz at the end of the video, as you can see on the side, where it has 3 multiple choice questions and 2 open-ended questions. We'll go back to the lesson page and our activities. There's an interactive activity to give students an understanding of what is artificial intelligence. This activity is hosted on Nearpod, so students will enter this and enter their name and click Join Lesson. And this is a slide presentation that has interactive activities throughout. So what is AI? We have an essential question, our learning objectives. There is a collaborative board where the students ask a question, where have they seen or heard about artificial intelligence? So getting an understanding of where the students are and what they know already about artificial intelligence. And now we have another video. This video, once again, goes over basics of artificial intelligence. Students can play this video, and it tells them the basics of AI. There are no questions embedded in this video. After the students watch the video, or while they're watching the video, there is a printable worksheet. The students can print this out and either answer the questions while they're watching the video, or they can answer the questions once they've completed the video. Key vocabulary. This is a matching activity where students will match the terminology with the definition. So if I click on artificial intelligence, choose the right answer. If I click on the definition and choose the wrong answer, then that's what happens. Open-ended questions. And at the end of this, there is a 5-question assessment. There's a worksheet. This is the same worksheet that was part of the Nearpod activity. Here's another interactive activity. This is a little different. This is a look it game, a gamified opportunity for the students. Students will enter their nickname and they'll click on the new game. They will choose their settings, and as they go through the game, they're given questions about, so which is an example of artificial intelligence. So if I click on the correct answer, it tells me that I'm correct, and it says click anywhere to go next, and I answered that incorrectly. So once I answer so many correct answers, it brings me into the game and I can start playing the game. So I click start and I have my object going through. So what the Look It game is a fun way for the students to reinforce what they've already learned about artificial intelligence, laying the basics for artificial intelligence, putting them into a position where they can understand, okay, this is how AI works. These are the basics of AI. Now I can move on to understanding how AI learns, putting me into a position to balance those scales of AI bias. And reflection questions. There are reflection questions posted throughout the unit. So once that reflection question is done, there's another interactive activity. This is once again a Nearpod activity, very similar to the one before. Students once again go through here, and this one talks about how AI is trained. It has interactive activities, collaborative board. Students will view the slide presentations and complete activities. For example, here's an activity where students, it says, what input does an AI application need to create recommendation output for the next video to watch on YouTube? If I click on the blue instructions, then I see, so this we can use information for or cannot use. And this is a drag and drop where students will drag their responses. Another drag and drop activity. And just like the previous, there is an assessment at the end of this. After that interactive activity, there's another interactive video. This is once again hosted on Edpuzzle. How computer vision works. So once again, helping students understand how AI works. That's what this first unit is about, helping students understand how AI works. And this next How AI Work video is using a tool where many students are familiar with, Spotify. So how are the recommendations for their songs being determined? And there's another reflection, very similar to the other reflection. We have another interactive activity. This is another Nearpod activity that the students will go through. And with this one, there's a worksheet where students have to simulate training an AI model. What they'll do with this activity is they'll choose a category. From that category, they'll subdivide it into 3 categories and place images of features of whatever their device is. I've put an example using a dog to help the students understand how to complete this. So for example, if we train an AI device to recognize a dog, we might have one category of their general shape, and then fur, and then different breeds of dogs. So students will choose a category, and there's a reflection question at the end once they're done with this, but it gives them suggestions of possible categories. There's an article on artificial understanding biases. So we're learning how AI is trained, how AI works, and now we're starting to learn how biases are introduced into AI. This article goes through that, and then there's a worksheet that the students, they can print this out and write their answers in, or they can open this up in Google Docs and complete it online. There's another video unveiling biases, another video. These are just videos of real world examples of biases, video of biases again, another reflection question, and then we have a unit reflection question. The unit reflection question links to the forum where the students will click on the reflection question, and it says that. And the lesson 1 reflection, they can click here and they'll click comment and type their response to the reflection question. So the end of unit reflection questions will be answered in the forum area. If we navigate to lesson 2, very similar setup. We have our scales of justice, once again, helping students to when they're seeing this, they're understanding, okay, we have to balance these scales of AI. We'll go through this unit, lesson unit. We have our essential questions, learning outcome, learning objectives, and we have an interactive video to start this lesson unit. So this is a lesson. So this What is Bias unit is a interactive video. It's not Nearpod, but what it does is it's very similar. It takes the students through. It has audio and visuals to help students. Students will click begin. It has objectives, and it tells the
Have you
students this takes
wondered why
about,
people treat other people differently?
and it goes through the, once they're done with that What is Bias videos, there's another video. This video is just a YouTube video that explains what biases are. And then there's an interactive activity, fair or flawed AI hiring biases. So this is a choose your own adventure activity. Students will get a better understanding of how AI systems work by going through this choose your own activity. So for example, the first, it says your AI system is selecting mostly male candidates for tech jobs, even though many qualified female applicants have applied. What do you do? And the students will say, well, I'll ignore it, investigate it further, or manually add female candidates. Well, if they ignore it, then the choose your own adventure tells them not really so much of a good choice. The AI continues to be biased. Then it goes on, it says, now how will we fix the problem? And the students choose the correct answer, or what they think is the correct answer. What they think is the correct answer. If they could get the correct answer, it says good job. It takes them to the end and they'll submit their answer. So it's a short activity, but it gives them some ideas of how AI systems might work, and it gets them to start thinking what they can do to start balancing those scales of AI. After that activity, there's the instructions for training. So they're going to go to a website called Teachable Machine, and we have instructions for what they have to do. And if I go to Teachable Machine, we can see what that is. So in this Teachable Machine activity, students will have a hands-on practice at training an AI system. What they do is they get started, they'll click on Image Project, and they'll choose a category. So for example, I can type in dogs, I can upload some pictures from dogs from my computer, and I can choose category cat. There's an instructional video posted with this to show the students how to do this. So they have the instructions, and they also have an instructional video that explains how to do this. And once again, I'll upload some pictures of cats. And for this activity, students will click Train Model. To test the model, the students will choose an image that they did not include in the sample images to see if the AI device can recognize the correct image. So I'll choose a cat that was not included in the training. And we can see from the training data that the AI device did correctly see that it recognizes this image as 70% a cat. So that's teachable machine activity that the students will do. Once they're done with that, there's another reflection question that goes with that. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to build a machine learning model from scratch. There's a video tutorial, instructions, and a video tutorial that explains that. And there is project instructions or worksheets that they will need. So for example, if there's one activity, they have two activities to choose from. One is called SNAP and one is called Cup or Car. And what they're going to do is they're going to build a machine learning model that can recognize the SNAP model. It recognizes the suits of cards, so spades, clubs, hearts, and diamonds. For the Cup or Car activity, they build a machine learning model that recognizes either cars or cups. These instructions explain to the students exactly what they have to do. The students are going to do this activity at this website, Machine Learning for Kids. In this website, what they'll do is they'll create a project. So students create a project, and for example, the SNAP project, I loaded some things in here. Add data to their project, they create categories, and once they have their categories, what they do is they go into Scratch, which is a programming Well, they test the model or train the model. And once the model is trained, they go to Scratch. And inside of Scratch, they create a program. They have to make minor modifications to this program. And all of this is in the instructions. But they make modifications to the program. And what they're doing is they're getting a hands-on experience to see, okay, well, it's not working, or for this is the snap game which recognizes card suits. So maybe if they hold up diamonds and it comes up, and the AI device says that it's a heart, then the students have to think, well, what am I doing here? And it gives them a visual and hands-on opportunity to look to see, okay, the scales aren't balanced. What do I need to do to make this more accurate, to make this more balanced? And once again, once this activity is over, there's a reflection question, there's an end of unit reflection, and I don't think I mentioned it, but there is an end of unit quiz at the end of each lesson. So this end of unit quiz brings us into the quizzes website, where the students click on it, they click start, and the students are given questions. So there is an end of unit quiz at the end of each lesson with quizzes. This is lesson 2, but if I go to lesson 1, we can see that end of unit lesson is there also in quizzes. Brings us into quizzes, and students can start this. These end of unit quizzes are students can take them as many times as they wish. The summative assessment at the final test, they're only allowed to take once. Also, at the end of each of the lesson pages are supplemental resources. So there's flashcards here. If I click on those, these are flashcards created in quizzes. There's another video. There's terminology, so the key vocabulary. There's a document that students can refer to for that as well. So we've looked at all the lessons, so now let's look at lesson 3. We have the same setup, and lesson 3, there's an interactive activity in Nearpod. And this is very similar to the other Nearpod activities. There's an article on artificial intelligence with problems with gender and racial biases for students. Another interactive video. And the main project that the students are going to do at the end of the unit is creating a digital poster. So we can see from the checklist that the students, when they create their digital poster, what they're doing is they're bringing all of the information that they have learned about what artificial intelligence is, how it's trained, how biased information enters into AI systems. They're taking, and what they can do about it, how they can be an advocate. They're bringing all of this together in the creation of a digital poster. Their checklist has everything that they should add into that. A creative title, explain how AI is trained, describe how outputs can become biased, provide a real-world example of how AI bias affects people, include a link to a real-world AI bias, images and graphics, bringing this all together, balancing those scales of AI bias. And the students are going to create that digital poster in Canva. And there we have the final test, which is posted in quizzes also. There's some flashcards, an article, terminology, and enrichment content, which is Google Labs, which has artificial intelligence experiences. Other content on this website, we have the forum. The forum is for students to post questions. So there's a general discussion area. There's the reflection area where students will ask and respond to end of the lesson reflection questions. There's the help section where students can get in contact if they need to contact the instructor for help, and a link to the frequently asked questions in the help section also. For this, students can log in with their Google, will be able to log in with their Google information So if I were to click on Login and click Sign in with Google, it signs me in with Google. And that is an examination of AI bias balancing the scales of AI.